It's going to go live. Press got it. Got it. Great stuff. Welcome. Good to see you, Angie. Good to see you, Andrew, as well. So again, day 3 of the LinkedIn Outreach, Making Sales from LinkedIn challenge today. And I'm super excited about sharing the next stage of the journey. And would love to get a little bit of feedback from you guys in terms of how you've got on. So excited to do so. Let's just kind of tee up today and to let you guys know what we're doing here. So oh, hello. What happened there? There we go. So today's day 3, and let's just share these slides. So just remember, guys, the whole point of what we're trying to do in this challenge is we're spending an hour a day for 4 days get this LinkedIn stuff working. And so we call that your $1 million hour. It's very much a methodology we take through to our coaching group where we just say just an hour a day chipping away at building out your lead generation funnel. Today or this week is a very good example of actually how I operate with my clients, and it's bite-sized chunks to get you going and to get things done, and that's the beauty of this, right? So far we have covered this part of the system. So day 1 we talked about priming your profile. That's very much writing your headline for the audience that you're trying to outreach to. We talk about niche your marketing, not your business. Let's really get our teeth into an audience. And we help to prime our profile and also write our outreach message. Then in day 2, we sent up to 80 outreach messages to our first degree connections. That's people that you're already connected with. And we gave a template for doing that. And we talked about that being 80 messages. So gang, that was the target. 80 messages to first degree target audience messages by the message we created. If anybody is not inside our community, please do jump in. I'm in the process of working through your lovely messages you're putting in here. Flora will put the link to this in the chat so you can join it. It's for free. You can join this, no problem. And you can see here that we've had 50 odd people putting their messages of their day 1 message into the chat here, and we're editing and making tweaks or saying that's great or helping as we go there. So do keep on putting your messages into day 1 if you're catching up. And then day 3 of the challenge is here, and we'll have an actions post at the top, and here's people who had actions from day 2 there. So really cool kind of community to back up the learning from this, and of course it's great to network with everybody as well. So the question is, how did you get on from the actions from yesterday? So Les, can I ask you, so you were very kind to put your name into the hat in the chat. Les, how did you get on with yesterday?
Yeah, so I think I'd initially my audience was about 160, 170 strong. So there was 80 to hit within that community. It took a longer. I'd say it took about two and a bit hours rather than half an hour. But that was because of a couple of things. One, there was some cutting and pasting, just some technical issues. It kept putting all this weird spacing, which that's neither here nor there. But I found that as I was going through, because these were level 1 contacts, I was happy to do a lot of tweaking of the basic outreach. It would look strange if I just sent that standard message to somebody who I'd maybe only spoken to a month ago anyway. So, having accommodated all of that, the individual customization and tweaking of the message, the process taking a bit longer. I got nine responses, and the 9 responses are everything from take me off the list to now's not a good time, let's have a chat later in the year, etc., etc. So two or three good things happening, and from places that I wouldn't, if I'd have been just kind of choosing not randomly, but choosing selectively, I would not have said those people would be ones that came forward. So it was valuable from that point of view.
Fantastic. And so therefore some opportunities to loop back to people, and for a couple of hours work, you're now into people having chats, and then of course over the course of the next few days, people will still be picking up those messages and coming back, which is great. Exactly. So it's about creating that momentum and that outreach. So great stuff there, Les. Well, put, yeah, give Les a round of applause. Well done, Sarah, leading the charge there. I love it. Yes, round of applause to Les. Get her in there. Fantastic. Now, look, it doesn't have to all be, sunshine and rainbows with this. So, who, and but also it could be, do not come forward if it worked well for you. But how else do people find yesterday? David, yes, go for it, mate.
Well, I'm on my way to my first high ticket meeting from a person that said yes, he's in. He wants my program. And I must say that's just fantastic. I tell you what, this whole thing works.
Was that what within 24 hours you already having a
Yeah,
face-to-face
yeah.
with
It was.
someone?
I posted the post, and within about 20 minutes of me posting, I see this message come back, and I go and look, and the guy says he wants in. He wants to meet me. I'm actually sitting at a McDonald's at the moment, halfway there. And after this meeting, I'm going straight there to meet him. So wish me luck.
Oh, I love it. Well, come back tomorrow and tell us how you got on, David. That's awesome. And that's a high ticket meeting. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations, mate. And that was
Thank
from
you.
the message that we edited and tweaked on day one.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much, Richard. Well done. Thank
No
you.
worries. Yeah.
Kudos to you.
My commissions in the check invoices in the post. Like
Absolutely.
I'm
Send it.
joking. No, that's awesome. Fantastic, David. That's really, really cool. And and look forward. So if it works for one, right? So this is a good example, guys, is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to make something happen. We're trying to fine tune a message, which won't just be great for David for this type of project where we're outreaching, but it would also be fantastic for sales copy for landing pages. It would be perfect for email outreach as well as LinkedIn outreach. Could even be perfect for other social media outreach. If it works and it gets responses and entices, you're basically putting some building blocks together for your entire lead generation activity. So awesome work. Congratulations, David. And that's the kind of outreach that we're looking to do. Thank you. Rich, over to you. We'll use the final kind of feedback from you. How do you find it?
So sorry, I've got to be the mood hoover.
That's all right. I did tee it up to say that was okay.
I'm so I'm new to all this, and I'm just started out, and I've done the message thing, and I've kind of put my niche down as shift managers. I run factories, so everybody will have been a shift manager, and that's who I want to help. But when I did the search, I've got about 5,000 connections, most of which will be operations directors, which is effectively what I am. Every one of those is probably a shift manager somewhere down the line. So when I put it in, I got, I think, 140.
Okay.
But when I went through, there were about 3 people.
Right.
And everybody else came up in my connection. So I don't know how to do the search to make it. I want people who are currently a shift manager, not people who've been a shift manager like me 30 years ago or 20 years ago, but they are popping up in the search because they're my first connections. I'm not very good with technology, I'm not going to lie. So I didn't know how to filter that out, or do I have to go through 140 manually, which to be honest is going to be a bit of a ball ache.
Yeah. The thing is when LinkedIn will give you some stuff for free and then it will create ball aches for you.
Yeah.
And then it will upsell you into something like a sales navigator. So to give you an idea and just kind of specifically go on this, Sales Navigator has, I haven't even got LinkedIn up. Crikey, that's not good preparation. So let's just jump onto LinkedIn and if you're using Sales Navigator, which is I think it's about 60 quid a year, or sorry, 60 quid a month, Rich.
Yeah.
You've got a button here that you can click and you can do more advanced searches. And it also allows you to have the same connection request you can use the same connection request for every connection, a bespoke message, as opposed to being limited, which we'll talk about today. But here, if I do, I don't know, lead filters, and then I can go, you can go current company and work it through there, and then function, and there is a current job title. See how it's current?
Yeah.
So I can go, is it shift? Do you say shift manager?
Yeah, that'll do, yeah.
So I can go shift manager. Now, these are all the people, in theory, that have their current company as a shift manager. And actually, look, here you go. So shift manager, shift manager, shift manager. So this becomes your audience. And then, of course, you can then go, UK, or you can go town by town by town. I won't go fully into it. There is a training on Sales Navigator that's free within the community. So just look in the classroom in the LinkedIn Breakfast community, and you can find a session that we did on Sales Navigator. But there is some other cool things that you could do, Rich, because if you're trying to connect with people, and now look, I've got 190,000 results. Actually, I can use a button that says here, which is posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. I switch that on, and now I've got the 3,000 as opposed to 200,000 people that are shift managers that have posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Why is that relevant? Because it means that if they're doing that, they're on LinkedIn. So when I send a connection request to them, it's a higher likelihood that they actually will respond to it because they're seeing it, right? So there's some cool sort of ways that you can do some other tweaks. There's loads of stuff in here. As I say, I won't go into it all, but that's, when there's pain, there's always an upgrade, right? So unfortunately, that's the way. But there you go. You instantly get into your search that way.
Yeah, so I can get going doing the hard work. I don't mind that, but then that's the way to do it, really, because that opens it up so much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of for your, if we go back to the concept of the $1 million hour, it's then your hourly rate. What are you basing? So if you're going to spend an hour a day, 5 days a week, that's 20 hours in a working month. And so actually, if you then divide the cost of Sales Navigator by those 20 hours, then actually it's only a few quid per hour, and it helps you to be hyper optimized within that hour. So worth doing. And there's some other cool stuff that you can do on there. Again, look at the training, mate. That will unpeel that apple for you. Unpeel that apple? Orange, or whatever. Yeah. Onion, maybe. Whatever flavor we fancy this morning. Good. Great. Okay. You are not a mood hoover, Rich. You've just given us that great gift of further information. So do not worry. We love it. Right, gang. Should we get started? Let's jump into this. So today we are going to cover this part of the system. So this is the end-to-end system. And we talked about the priming your profile and your messaging campaign. Today, we're going to be talking about two things. One, connecting with people. So how are we actually connecting with people? And two, building out the system that allows us to actually not just book meetings, but actually warm people up before they meet you and make sure you get a higher show up rate. Now, there is advanced stuff in here, so don't just think, oh, Calendly, I can do Calendly. Actually, I'm going to kind of give you advanced workflows with a Calendly because it just allows me to just go a little bit deeper on the thesis behind show up rates for sales appointments, right? So that's the system. So we are going to write the connection request using our outreach template, send 20 connection requests to our audience, formalize your strategy session booking system, create a quick lead qualification plan, and create the yes to booking reply template. A lot to get through today, but it won't be as difficult as maybe those agenda looks. So the one thing that's super, super important when we're thinking about this outreach is something called the 100 Club. And the 100 Club will help you to make sure that you don't get penalized by LinkedIn by doing too much messaging, get focused on actually what your target should be, and have a system to be able to work this lead generation funnel. And tomorrow is very much going to show you how the 100 Club gets overlaid throughout a week. But today we're just going to introduce the 100 Club. And it's easy, right? Because we've already talked about 80 of those 100 Club because we talked about sending 80 messages to your low-hanging fruit. That's in day 1 and day 2. So it's your first-degree connections who are within that target audience search. And if you run out of those 80, then obviously you should be doing other searches and actually thinking about the connection messages being the primary because you're not connected with enough of your audience, right? So that's your low-hanging fruit. Say your first-degree connections from a search. In this case, there's 743 to get through. And we said we're going to send out this message. Great. The next piece is then adding the 20 to make it 100. And that's sending 20 connection requests a day. Why do we send 20 connection requests a day? Well, LinkedIn only allows you to send 100 connections a week. Otherwise, it will give you a little slap on the hand. And so the reason why it does that, look, if you're using Sales Navigator and you're getting a very high rate of connection, you might be able to push that to 30 connection requests a day. I know I kind of go over that 20, 100 a week kind of mark a little bit more, but ultimately I want to keep you guys safe. And people do get their accounts paused by doing too much activity. And when I say pause, I mean like 24 hours, they pause you through. If anybody says, oh, my account's been, deleted by LinkedIn, they were doing something massively wrong with like 6 or 7 automation tools and probably taking the PISS. Whereas actually, if you're just using LinkedIn on a free account and you're doing quite a lot of it and you kind of go maybe 150 connection requests a day, they will say, hey, you've done too many searches or you've done too many outreach. We're going to pause your account for 24 hours. And then you go back in and say, I'm sorry. And then you come back down to the 100 club, right? So just start here. Trust me, I'll keep you safe, right? So 20 connection requests a day. And so here's the type of connection request we're talking about. So there's a couple of examples here. And what our thesis is for connections is we just need to get them talking to you. And you can only send a few of these connection requests anyway with a free account. So you can only send, I think, like 5 or like maybe even 20 in a month of bespoke connection requests. Whereas if you're using a premium tool, you can send a connection request each time with a message, right? So just to give you a flavor of what that looks like, a semi-familiar ask is something along the lines of, hey, Rich, LinkedIn showed me your profile multiple times now. I thought I'd reach out. So it's basically saying, so this is, you can use one of these 3 that I'm going to give to you. So number one's that. And so what's that saying is like, hey, LinkedIn saying we should be friends. Thought I'd say hello, right? And so that's a semi-familiar ask. I like that one. Works really nicely. It's non-threatening, the whole point of this. The one that I use is this one below, which is, hi, Richard, just a friendly coach to coach. Hello, how's things? And I add in this crazy upside down world onto mine, right? And so we talked about this a little bit yesterday at the end of the call, which is just around actually saying, look, how are you? We are fellow coaches because I'm reaching out to coaches. So I am not threatening. I'm not trying to sell you anything, in this outreach. So then I'm saying, how's things? The point is we want to get them talking and working through there. So these 2 are super simple. So let me just paste those into the chat in case anybody wants to use these. So that's number 1 into there. We will, of course, circulate a swipe file with these into it via the community. And there's the second one there. And then the third one is what we call the pattern interrupt, right? And so this is where you can tell a bit of a joke or do something a little bit different. And on this one, it's you can say something like, like a joke, like how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb must really want to change. Jokes aside, I'd love to connect, right? I don't know. It's a bit dad jokey. As I think was it Richard pointed out that I'm well qualified for a dad joke because of my shirt. In fact, Richard said you can buy a better shirt now that Dave is going to give me commission for the deal that he's got. That's very nice, Richard.
I actually like your shirt.
I
I mean, you must have bought it when Laura Ashley went into administration, so well done.
It used to be a pair of curtains in its previous life.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the whole point of the pattern interrupt, I've completely lost my chain of thought now. Thanks, Rich. But the whole point of this is just to make it a bit tongue-in-cheek to make it happen. It's different. You could also work something in a way of saying, hey, I really liked your post that you recently put out about X, Y, and Z, or I didn't realize that you also went to this college or university. I also went there, or we used to play them at, hockey when I was at, uni or whatever it is. Like you can try and use some things to pull on. That takes a lot more work doing it that way. Whereas these 2 ways is just basically like a systematic copy paste way of working. So that's your connection request. Now, many of you will find, and let's just take one of these. Many of you will find that you'll quickly run out of being able to send a bespoke message with your connection request because you will have if you're on the free account, you'll just simply run out. So what we're trying to do here is to do the 20 clubbers we're doing are coach plus speaker. search or whatever your search is, or you're going into a group. So remember, some people can't do searches because they're trying to target people who are interested in losing weight. So they'll be finding like weight loss groups, such as like a keto group, and they'll be going into the keto group and they'll be connecting through there. So that's kind of how you're working. And now what you're going to do here is you're going to go coach per speaker. And what I would suggest, because you're only sending 20 a day, select second degree, because now I've got my search and I'm pressing second degree, and then I select my location and I would go United Kingdom. And then this becomes the search, because you've got to make a note of not only I've sent 20 a day, I then put down at the end of each day the person I finished sending connection requests to do. So I said 20, and then I finished on someone called Mike Middleton. And then it means that when I go back to this search, I will then go scroll down to find Mike, and then I'll do my next 20. You do that in exactly the same way when you're doing your 80 a day on the outreach as well. So I'm simply going through here, and I'm just simply finding people and I'm connecting with them. So this is nice and easy. I can go press connect, and then I can send with a note, and then I'm putting the note in like this. But there'll be potentially, let's just remove that. There'll be potentially times that you can't do the note. So all you're going to do is just press connect and not send without a note. Or if you're not able to send a note, it will just press connect and it will connect. That's all that matters. This is why making your headline very focused around who and how you help and why they should listen, because that's all they'll see. So your headline is really important. It's why we covered it off in day one. Cool. You'll see other people, it says follow. We don't want to follow them because we want to send them messages. So when it says follow, we need to actually go on and connect with them. Now, here's a super, super important point. If you're going to make note of anything, make note of this. If you're not using a premium account and you are finding you're not using tools like I'm using, like a premium sales navigator or a normal email navigator, you just got the free LinkedIn account. If you do too many searches, LinkedIn will stop you from doing more searches. So here's the hack, super important hack, right? If I go and click on this person here and Kadisha, and I go and look at Kadisha, I think that's great. And now instead of follow, I can go to more and I can go and press connect, and I'll send her a connection note. Great, I've now connected. If I then go back and press the back button, top left, this is bad because I pressed the back button. What's just happened is that it's just researched. It's just done a new search. Or if I've gone back into the top and I've gone and clicked this and I've gone back to this search, then I've just done a new search. So let's just go back to the search. So that means, so say I might have like 10, 15 search credits. Nobody actually knows, but it's about kind of 10, 15 search credits over a few days that LinkedIn gives you. You don't want to keep on doing searches. So you want to keep this one search. And then if I want to go and see Sasha here, I click right click, I open in a new tab. That just takes me to Sasha's profile. It does not do a new search. I can then go see Sasha. I can go see the fact that actually, yeah, it looks like someone I want to connect with. I can send the connection request. Then I can simply just X Sasha's profile, as in close that tab. And then I go back to my normal search and I haven't actually done anything on this page. I haven't researched it. So then I can just go down and I can go to Jessica here and I can right click, open a new tab, and I can go check out Jessica. Please, please, please make a note of that, because it will stop you from having issues where LinkedIn's restricting the volume of searches you can do on LinkedIn. That is, honestly, all of you will find that being a problem. On someone saying better to right click on the same name and open a new tab. Yeah, I think that's what I was doing. Yeah. So if you've got one of those fruit devices that is like Apple related, you might have to not use a right click. You might have to do something really whizzy and you'd look very cool doing it. But for us with normal computers, you can just use right click and open new tab. So that's how you do it. And that will keep your searches safe. And then you just simply go through this to do 20 a day, which is fine, because tomorrow, and you could do like 1 or 2 searches to get the search right. Like don't kind of like panic. So 1 or 2, 3, searches, to get the search right. Once you got the search right, then tomorrow you just go back to the same search. You can close it down and just do a new search tomorrow. That's going to be fine. But it's when people start doing 10, 20, 30 different searches in a day, that's where you have a problem. Cool? Okay, good stuff. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to do 20 connection requests a day and work it through. You're going to add that to your 80 outreaches. And that, my friends, then is going to give you your 100 club. Cool. Okay, good stuff. So just remember, it's important because it shows up in these outreach messages and when you're sending connections. Super, super important. So that's the opportunity, is the people that are secondary connections, work on that. Great. Okay. So the next thing we want to think about is actually what happens when someone says yes to your outreach. So we're sending 80 connection requests a day and 20 connections. Now someone's looking, saying yes. So we want to say, great. This is the template that we say for this. So let me just, hello. Let me chuck that template into the chat then, if you want to go and grab that and collate a bit of a spreadsheet from it. But here is the template. So say, great, looking forward to it. Probably the best way to find space in both of our diaries is via below link. I hope that's okay and easy. I know I'm kind of teaching you to suck eggs here. Plenty of people have used use this before, but you have used a Calendly before, but this is just a nice simple template to use, and you can have that's used every time. And the reason why I'm giving these templates is when you start to delegate this, then these are the templates you want to give to people who are going to manage your LinkedIn outreach for you, which might be further down the track for you. And there's a little bit of confusion here in terms of actually the 100 club, right? So guys, the 100 club is 20 connection requests a day, 80 DMs for your first degree connections, the straight to the point message. That creates 100. And tomorrow we're going to talk about how many days we're going to do that. But you'll be doing it pretty much daily, but there's a slight nuance to that, which is why tomorrow is super important to come to. But there's 100 connection request limit per week for the 20 connection requests a day, equals 20 times 5 is 100. So you can only send a connection request every single day, send 20 of them. And then the 80 messages that we put on top makes a daily 100 club, but we don't do the 100 club every day, right? So that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. But just for clarity, 20 connection requests a day, every day, and then 80 DMs that we add to the 20 connection requests a day, but we only do that on select days, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So just do the 100 club today, because that's okay. Just 20 connection requests a day, 80 outreach messages today. Good. Okay. So that's the yes when they say yes to it. And so now we will just talk about formalizing your strategy session booking. So what do I mean by that is by actually having a page where people can come to book in to your sales call. Why do I call it a strategy session? What you want to do is try and brand your sales calls as something that is looks of value. Because when we're selling services, people are outreaching, you're saying, hey, let me get straight to the point. I think that we could help you with this. I know that we can help. So then let's talk about actually that meeting being a little bit more exciting than a one-to-one. Let's talk about it as a strategy session, and we're going to help you to be able to uncover the opportunities in your business, or we're going to call it a discovery call where we're going to look at all the different elements and review things, or an audit, how we're going to work. So whatever it is, let's name your meetings, let's brand your meetings something a bit more exciting than what you've perhaps been doing in the past, okay? And then let's talk about qualifying your meetings, because when you start doing outreaches on LinkedIn, you don't want to be running around doing lots of virtual coffees for people that were never ever going to be your client. So we need a way to be able to actually work out how can we qualify. And so I do this super simply by having my Calendly booking page like this. And by the way, if anybody's losing the fact what is Calendly, Calendly is a free software which you can upgrade to do some ninja stuff. But it ultimately is a calendar booking software, right? People can schedule. Okay. And there's lots of different ones out here. but I love this one because of the extra ninja stuff it can do, which I'm going to show you in a second. So Calendly booking form in there. Now, when we create this booking form, which is simple, they'll just guide you through creating one of these when you log on. We want to make sure that there's 2 questions on there, which allows me to actually say no if someone books a meeting. And so when I see these, I can actually go through it and actually work out, well, should this be someone that I could work with? And you want to be able to have questions in there that qualify people out. So the 2 questions that we have is, what's their website and where would they like their business to be 12 months from now? Why is that important? Well, if I can go on their website and check it out, then I can actually work out if it's the right type of business. If they don't have a website, then that in itself tells me that they might not be advanced enough to be working with. Might be okay, depending on what they say in the next question, which is, where would you like to be in 12 months from now? And so that then helps me to work out, well, actually, are their goals aligned with what we can help them achieve? Are they thinking in the right way, or are they completely wrong? And that's super important. So please think about adding into your booking a couple of things that are strategically there on purpose to qualify people out. And so here's some examples of other ideas that you could use to add into your booking forms, right? So first of all, it could be, what's your biggest priority right now? Because if they're not prioritizing the thing you can help them with, then maybe they're wrong. Where would you like to be 12 months from now? Obviously, that's the one that I use, and that really helps me to make sure that their mission is aligned to our mission. How big is your team? So this works really well if you're an HR consultant and you help people who have got teams, right? Or if you are a sales trainer and you work with sales teams, if they haven't got a big sales team, then they might not be right for you. So you can qualify them out. You could also potentially think about, well, what am I going to pitch to them? Because you might have like an online course that you could just send to them and say, hey, for people who have only got 1 or 2 people in their sales team, this is the perfect thing to start off with, and it will really help you to be able to grow. So then you can actually then get access to our sales team accelerator, which is only for teams of 10 plus, right? Something along those lines. Website address is obviously really good because that just gives you loads of data then to be able to look. And some people have different emails that they use to register for stuff than their actual website. So that's super helpful for when we do this. The other one is, what have you tried in the past and what has happened, right? So in terms of what have you tried in the past and what has happened, the whole point of this is we want to look at what was their thing, what have they tried to solve the pain that you're trying to solve, and then what was the result of that, and that gives you data that you can actually use in terms of when you're pitching to them as well. So good. Now, do not use all of these. I'm just talking about 1 or 2 of these. And you can say another one, which is, what does success look like to you? I see a few people are just trying to take each one down. So I'm going to copy again into, oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing that. Come on, out. There we go. So I'll copy this into the chat. So hopefully that will help as well, and you might be able to copy out the chat. Again, we'll loop around with, we'll just, Flora, if we just upload these slides to the actual group, I think that will help. Great. Okay. Can we see my screen okay? Is it okay? See the screen? Perfect. Great. So now what we want to do is then we want to send this personal email to people, because remember what we're trying to achieve here is, gone all the way back here. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. We want to be able to book a meeting here, and then before we get people to come along to it, we want to send them a set of emails automatically that are triggered by this. So that can be sending them bonus content and videos as they go into it. So we've reached out to people, they said, yes, I'd like to have a meeting, but you've only just kind of hit them cold, right? So then between now and the meeting, what we want to do is we want to send them, hey, why don't you check out this PDF because it will help you do this? Why don't you watch this video because it will help you to do this? And then also send them text message reminders to get them actually into that meeting already familiar with you, and hopefully have gone a long way through the know, like, and trust cycle, right? So that's why we're trying to do this, because we want to make sure that when they do have a meeting with you, they are warmed up to the fact that you are good at what you do and can help them, right? So then we've got a nice format here that will say, hey, great to have a catch up on LinkedIn. Looking forward to seeing you. Here's the details. In the meantime, I have the below training that you might want to check out on how to double your income, work half the time. Also, my thesis on how I scaled 2 businesses to over $1 million in revenue, right? This is my one that I use, works really well, and people come pre-warmed up. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. It'll be the last demo of today, and then I'll take some questions. So if I log into my Calendly, and so Calendly looks like this, and I have a number of different events which I like, and I can do it. And there's lots of people talking about different calendar appointment things. I've always liked the reason why I've stayed with Calendly is they do a really cool round robin type event. So it means that I can have 2 or 3 salespeople, and every time someone books a meeting, it will then distribute that equally amongst all the salespeople. That's one of the cool things, plus the stuff I'm about to show you. So Calendly, you can create an event. That's nice and easy. You should be able to do it yourself. But then you create workflows. And the beauty of these workflows is that you can then send a 1 hour before invite, 24 hours before, or 5 minutes before invite, and you can have different events on different invites. So this can work super well. And so if I show you the email that we send out 24 hours beforehand, you simply create what you call a workflow. So 24 hours before any of my events, I will send an email and send a text message, and it does it automatically within Calendly. And also the nice thing about it, you don't pay extra for the text message. It's just included in your subscription, which is not expensive. I think it's like 15 quid, right? And then you press edit just to show you this, and it will bring up automatic feeds. So for here, event name, so your $1 million strength strategy session with Richard Woods at 11 o'clock on June the 13th. And that's the title of the email. So it's dynamic. So I never have to touch it again. You see how it's all automatic. And then I go in and I've gone, again, it's given me that friendly reminder that your event name on that is on this date. So if we go back to our slide, you can see how Friday, this is a friend reminder of here, and then this is the information, the date, and the link. Cool. So it does it automatically via location, which is the Zoom link. It will automatically put that in. In advance of this meeting, you may like to check out, and then here you go, our thesis on this, and also watch some of my reviews in here, and then looking forward to seeing you, and then my name, $1 Million Sprint, right? So you see how that's all automatically in play, and that will go out to everybody beforehand. And it will also send a text message to everybody beforehand. In the text message, we can just be a little bit more factual about this is the time, this is the day. Perfect. And so then I can go select the events that I want that to go out to, and I've got a really nice way of working this workflow, right? The next thing is then so for me, I send 3. I send one 24 hours beforehand. I send one 1 hour beforehand with, again, a little bit of information for those to look at. So just show you that one. And again, this 1 hour beforehand one is just an email. So I don't want to hammer them with text messages because I know what it's like if you get too many text messages, even though it wouldn't cost me anything if I did. But I've now given them a hey, great to see you. And I've given them another one, which is a different piece of content to look at before my meeting 1 hour beforehand. You wouldn't believe how many people actually go and watch all 3 bits of content and are like, wow, this is cool. I'm well up for this. Because they've got a meeting in the diary. You've done the hard work. You've got the meeting in the diary. And so now you can get them really through that content consumption part. And then the last thing is 5 minutes beforehand. And I won't show you that. It's ultimately just an email and a text message that goes, hey, looking forward to seeing you in 5 minutes. Here's the link. Okay. So these advanced workflows are super, super important. It will really, really help you to be able to get a higher rate of people attending and a higher quality of knowledge about your services from the person that's attending those meetings. So please do stick that in your skyrocket. Again, as I say, I'll stick this in the chat for anybody who is working with me every part of the way here to be able to do this. And so the chat is in there. Perfect. Lovely. So just to recap then, and then I'll take questions. Today, we're going to hit the 100 club. Okay, so there's 20 connection requests today and 80 DMs to your first degree connections. So set up your Calendly fully, because then that'll be a really great asset for you going forward. Write your pre-meeting email that you can add into that Calendly, and then hit the 100 club. Cool. Awesome. And so look, guys, that's where we are now. As a special support for people who are on these calls, who are staying to this, we are offering this free LinkedIn profile audit. And actually, I'm going to be doing them personally myself to kind of look at your LinkedIn profile, audit where you are with it, how it's working, and actually some of these actions from this challenge I can help you with as well. So let me just go through that and put that into the chat. So it's one-to-one with me. Here is the link to it. They are limited, and obviously, as you can tell, with lots of people in this challenge, then here you go, paste that in the chat now. Lots of people in this challenge. These slots, which I've opened up until Thursday next week. Now, I'm away for the rest of the month, so this genuinely is all you're going to get in terms of opportunities to have these audits and to discuss what we've chatted about on these calls. So do jump into that. If you haven't done it already, it's for business owners only. And obviously people who haven't already had an audit or a meeting with me, jump into that. There's a booking link in there. They are limited, as I said, and I look forward to be able to go through your profile, looking at how you set up that whole LinkedIn profile, and actually reviewing some of your LinkedIn outreach one-to-one on a Zoom with me. So if you're not on that, do jump on that ASAP. Cool. Right, gang. Questions? What have we got? Help, support. Any questions that you got? Let me know. Or thoughts? Andrew, yes.
I've been having some, and this is a technical one, so I'm wondering if you can answer it, maybe some of the other people in the audience can. My email provider doesn't have calendar. So I've got a web email from a hosting company in South Africa, Zelo. And therefore I use IMAP to bring things into my Outlook. But obviously it doesn't have calendar, it doesn't have a calendar thing. Can you use Calendly if you haven't got that Microsoft Exchange account and only have an IMAP account?
Let's find out. So let's go. So when we look at this, we've got to look at integrations with calendars and Exchange, iCloud Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Google Calendar. Does that help? Could you, so I'm thinking about what phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
So you'll have an iCloud calendar.
I do.
And so what you could be doing is actually using your iCloud calendar as the calendar that goes onto your phone, and making sure that you could maybe use that for everything. And then that, so because you can get your iCloud calendar into Outlook as well.
Right.
So you can see it into Outlook, and then your appointments that are coming through your website. I mean, I guess the big question is, why, would it not just make sense to upgrade to Office 365?
Well, I've got Office 365, but it's not hosted by the company, yeah. So I've got Office 365,
Okay.
but it looks as though what I need to do is actually find a domain provider, not a domain provider, a host that runs 365 as well.
Yeah, it should be. You should be able to just connect your email address to Office 365, and
which I do, but you connect it using IMAP.
Right. Okay.
Okay, which then, because IMAP transfers all your messages back and forth, but if you haven't got a calendar, it can't transfer it back and forth between the host.
Well, Yeah. So Lorraine's saying you can run IMAP account into Office 365, so you don't need to change.
Oh,
Lorraine knows. Where's Lorraine? We love Lorraine.
Lorraine, send me your
Lorraine needs to be
contact.
your friend.
Yeah, Lorraine, can you send me your contact details, please?
And then Lorraine's like, I do. Lorraine knows. I do. Perfect. Lorraine is the person to chat to for sure. There you go. And her email is in the chat. Fantastic. Thank you, Lorraine. That's the beauty of these type of meetings and
Sorry, it's in the chat, is
the
it?
wider mastermind, right? So there you go. Fantastic.
Ah,
Everybody
Lorraine.
needs a Lorraine. Good. Okay, thank you. So I'll leave you to connect with
Thank you.
her, Andrew. Thank you. Okay, Rich, over to you.
Sorry, back to the starting technical verb again. So I've seen people looking at calendar and looking at LinkedIn, as you've just described it, seems really pretty straightforward to me. I've seen people, I've done a couple of these and seen people do it on Facebook and on WhatsApp, and it just seems overly complex to me. Just sending an email, getting it in calendar and just going is a lot more straightforward than people creating Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups and all of that. Is it me, or are people just overcomplicating that?
So it's a good point. Now, there is a level of volume that you can achieve. So Rich, when you're saying that only a few hundred are connected with you, who are your first degree connections, then you're going to very much exhaust your current connections. And so at the rate of 20 new connection requests a day, of which say 30% connection percentage would work well. So say, let's say 7 people actually connecting with you per day. And then of those 7 people, how many are going to then reply and actually want to have a meeting? Well, you're probably not going to get one every day, but you might get a few over the course of a week. That gives you a baseline rhythm, but that is only a level. And so when you want to then start to grow an audience and position yourself further as a thought leader and actually kind of just use a few more levers to be able to attract people, then things like groups, events, etc., can come into there. So what we love with LinkedIn is that we can get into the audience, we can see them, we can message them, we can then produce content to it. And yes, I do think people massively overcomplicate how to do lead generation, because the more complicated it is, the more that they can sell it, because the more they can say, hey, I've got these amazing results, and you can pay me for £10,000, you can have my new whatever system, and then you do it and realize how much work it is, and it doesn't work anyway. So that's kind of, and also for your audience, you shouldn't be going anywhere near Facebook in all audience, yeah, and I would say, there's sometimes audiences that are appropriate for Facebook, and sometimes, there's audiences that are appropriate for LinkedIn. So that's the thing. But you will need to also back this up. You can't just outreach constantly without putting content out, because these people are going to check out your profile, work out, well, what are you about? Why are you actually doing this? Why are you interested? And then want to go from there. So that's what I would say in terms of this campaign. Yes, it's simple to get the outreach going, but then you've got to start thinking about, well, how am I showing up online? What content am I putting out, and why do people care about it?
Yeah, that's great. I understand that. That's brilliant. Thank you.
No worries, Rich. Great stuff. Anybody got any further questions? Anything else I can help with? Cool. Okay. Well, look, we'll send the replay around and put it into the chat, and we will see you in due course. So thank you all again, and I'll catch you all tomorrow, 9 o'clock, where we'll finish the challenge tomorrow. So 9 o'clock tomorrow. See you then. Cheers. Bye.